Hey, what's up you guys? Today I wanted to discuss Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by LEIGH BARDUGO. So this is a duology that centers around a heist that is supposed to happen. So there is this new drug called Judoparum in the Grishaverse that causes Grisha to become very addicted to it, and so they almost become slaves to the drug, but it also heightens their powers and their abilities while simultaneously killing them. So in this book, our main characters are tasked with breaking into this fortress to try to get the creator of this drug so that they can control him and they can try to stop this drug from being made. So I really love both of these books. I would give them both 5 out of 5 stars. They are phenomenal books. The characters are so amazing and so strong. The characters are one of my favorite parts of this book, but I also adored the world building. The world building was really well done in these books. You get hints of things about these different characters and their backstories, but you don't really see what that hint means until later on in the story, so you're constantly just wanting to know more about them, more about their secrets, more about where they came from. And I think the world building is one of the strongest things that this book has going for it because it's just so well done and I really loved it. And then back again with the characters, all of the characters were so unique and they all had such interesting stories and they all were just so amazing and I loved them all. I thought they were all so special and so different. Like they all came from different backgrounds, they all came from different places, and the fact that they all got together and were able to achieve what they needed to was just so impressive and amazing. So I highly recommend these books if you haven't read them. And these books are also very fast-paced and they will really keep you on the edge of your seat. Overall, the conflict grows as the story progresses, and that is also something that I really loved about these books, was how the conflicts was handled. I really enjoyed it. I know that I've said that like 50 times, but yeah, you were just so ready for things to work out for these characters and you really cared about all of them and their struggles. So yeah, I highly recommend these books if you haven't read them yet. But now I'm going to get into a little spoilery section of this video because I really want to discuss these books with some spoilers because I really did love them. If you have read the books, please stick around and let's talk about these books. Comment down below any of your thoughts on these books as well, and I would love to just discuss these books. So let's just kick it off with Six of Crows and what happens in Six of Crows. In Six of Crows, we start off with Kaz and Inej, and those are like my favorite characters overall in the story. I mean, I love all of the characters, but those two really stuck with me the most, and I just loved them, especially Inej. She was my favorite. She honestly reminded me so much of like assassin rogues in D&D. If you are a D&D player, that's my favorite class to play in D&D. So she was just super badass throughout this entire story, and so was Kaz. And oh my god, Kaz's backstory, y'all, it just made me like want to cry. That's so rough. Like, he and his brother were just looking for a place to, I don't even remember why they came to Ketterdam in the first place, but they were just looking for a place to kind of just make a life for themselves, and they got taken advantage of, and it was just so heartbreaking what happened with Jordy and Kaz and his issue with being able to just touch people, and physical touch that is so difficult for him. And Nej's backstory, how she was taken from her parents and sold into slavery, like their backstories are just so heartbreaking. And I like how they're able to like find a bit of like solace in each other. They're able to be comfortable with each other even though they're very uncomfortable with other people. And then our next two characters were Nina and Matthias, and I also really loved both of them. Nina came from Radka. She came from the Second Army. She was captured by them, and he and Nina were both in a boating accident and they kind of survived together, and I liked how that is what helped them to kind of see each other for who they were and to kind of get past their differences a little bit. It was just growing to survive with one another and survive because of one another. Like, they wouldn't have survived on their own. They needed one another. They needed to draw on each other, and I really loved that, and I loved how that brought them together. I love how that enemies to lovers trope went. Normally, or sometimes, that trope can be very poorly done, and I feel like in this book it was just so excellently done. And then our last two characters were Jesper and Waylon, and they were also some of my faves. Jesper was so cute, and like, oh, his struggles are such real struggles that a lot of people deal with addiction and like gambling addiction and stuff like that. And I just loved it. I loved seeing that represented, and I loved his struggle like with that and him learning to deal with that, as well as Waylon kind of being there for him and them two coming together. I just thought they were such a cute couple, and I loved them as a couple. And poor little Waylon, oh my god. Waylon and his freaking, what's it called? Dyslexia. Like, that was so heartbreaking. I'm sure stuff like that happens in real life where like a kid has something that makes them different and so their parents aren't supportive of them like they should be. But oh my god, that was so heartbreaking, and that hurts to see that. And I felt so bad for him in this book, and I feel so bad for anyone that happens to in real life, because it's just, that's terrible. If there are two people in this world that you just expect to have, it's your parents. Like, I can't imagine my life without my parents, you know, and their support. So it's just heartbreaking to see that in this book. And so I just loved all of these characters and their backstories, and they all felt so real, especially Jesper and Waylon with their struggles. I just loved it. And so in the first book, they're dealing with the heist to enter the ice court. You know, they need all 6 of their talents and abilities, and I honestly love how Kaz kind of planned for everything. And I like how as things went in the first book, that plan kind of changed and morphed based off of what was going on and the changes that needed to be made. And I loved the plot twist in it too, like when Inej found Tanta Helene. Like, I was so terrified when Tanta Helene pointed her out and then she got taken by the guards and was gonna be put back into the prison sector. But I was so glad with what happened and how, you know, everyone used their own individual talents to be able to get out of the ice court. And then I loved at the end that plot twist that happened with Van Eck, how he went back on his deal with Kaz. That plot twist, like, I did not expect it coming at all. When he took Inej, I was like, oh my god, no, she's my favorite, no. But then we move on to Crooked Kingdom, and the first part of that book is trying to get back Inej, and I like how Kaz doesn't acknowledge that he wants to get her back because he likes her, but because she is a useful asset. And oh my god, I'm just so glad they were able to like rescue her and everything went fine with that. I loved how Inej didn't just take her capture lying down. She tried to get out, she tried to break out, and that scene where Van Eck was gonna break her legs was just so, oh my god, it had me so tense. Like, I was freaking out for her. Both of these books just had me in all of the emotions the entire time. We're able to finally get her. The whole hostage trade-off did not go as anyone planned, and I was honestly not expecting it to go that way, but thankfully Kaz has his scheming face and is able to scheme his way out of anything. And I loved meeting Jesper's father in Crooked Kingdom too, and just his father, I loved his father as a character. He was so supportive of Jesper, even though maybe he didn't do the best things, maybe he didn't make the best choices as a father, but he was still trying to support his son, and I loved it. I loved how he was there to help. I like how he was introduced. I like the scene where Jesper and Waylon were going to meet him, and all of a sudden it broke out into a gunfight and they had to just run for it. And then I also really liked the scene in Crooked Kingdom where Inej was going from silo to silo to try to destroy Van Eck's reputation, because that's what the whole book is about. After we get Inej, is just destroying Van Eck's reputation. And so I loved that part where she was going from silo to silo, and then she got into that fight with whatever her name was, and I loved that fight scene. I thought it was just so badass, and I loved that whole part of the book too, how you have different people all like being betrayed and having their plans screwed up. So like Kaz and Waylon, they get found out, Nina and Inej, they get found out, and then Jesper and whatever the fuck is Matthias, they get found out. I like how they all get found out and they all have to like come back together and regroup, and they have to go off somewhere else and just think things through and reevaluate their plans. And then Kaz has a scheming face again. I love the scheming face. Comment down below what you think Kaz's scheming face looks like, because I love every single time they mentioned scheming face. I laughed my ass off throughout these books. These books had so many funny moments. The character interactions were just so hilarious. And then at the end of Crooked Kingdom, when the whole final bit was happening at the auction to essentially just pin every bad thing that had happened on Van Eck, we had that plot twist of Matthias getting shot. Oh my god, it broke my heart. It hurt so much. him and Nina probably had the strongest relationship throughout the entire series because Jesper and Waylon were still trying to develop their feelings for each other, and Nej and Kaz were still trying to figure out how to even like physically touch each other without wanting to like throw up on each other or pass out. And Nina and Matthias, like, they had their issues in book 1, but in Crooked Kingdom they kind of were getting over that and dealing with the fact that like they weren't enemies anymore, that it was okay for, you know, Nina to do her Grisha powers and for Matthias to come from where he came from. Like, they were just dealing with the fact that it was okay that they were both people with flaws, but they were dealing with their flaws, and it just broke my heart. Like, that was a really well done death scene for Matthias because it was just I was honestly in tears, y'all. So I know this review was kind of all over the place. I didn't plan it out as much as I have the other ones. I just wanted to talk about some of the scenes that I really loved. So comment down below some of the scenes that you loved and what you thought of the books. I just really want to discuss these books with some people right now because they are some new favorites. I've moved them onto my favorites shelf. So yes, please comment down below. I would love to discuss these books with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I post videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, so I will see you then. Goodbye!